You get to pick a future quarterback for USC's quarterback room in 2024, a true sophomore quarterback with a year's worth of starting experience, or the number one quarterback in the 2024 bidding class that's coming out of the transfer portal.
You are Locked On Trojans, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Fight on, everyone. I'm your host, Mark Culkin, and thank you for making Locked On USC your first listen. Whether you're watching the show on YouTube or wherever you're going to download your podcast, this show is free, and I always appreciate your support. You can show yours if you're watching on YouTube. Become a subscriber. Smash that thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that bell notification button. That way you're covered. You don't miss an episode. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/locked on to get started. All right, I asked a really long intro question there coming into the show. I'll say it again, just in case I confused anybody. You're Lincoln Riley for the day, okay? You have to pick a quarterback for 2024. You want to bring one in every year, in your recruiting class. Do you want a true sophomore who's played a year in college, starting, or do you want to wait around and take the number one quarterback that was in the 2024 high school bidding class who's now in the transfer portal? Which one are you going to take? Okay. USC football is going through their winter workouts right now, conditioning season, that time of year. And there are some really cool hype videos out there that are already. You need to go check those out, including I told you that I saw before Jacoby Lane became a Trojan, him standing from 2 feet, jumping 6 feet. I'm standing by that. I still got to go find that video somewhere. Nevertheless, there's one out there where he's doing a running backflip. I swear, you can see it for yourself. And he had a basketball in his hand. He could have finished that with a dunk. That's how high he got off the ground. Nevertheless, it's I want to get back to, right now, while the team is going through their winter conditioning, Lincoln Riley is actually still putting his roster together for spring camp. And right now, there's actually a supplemental transfer portal window that's open. We'll call it the supplemental draft season, so to speak, for college football. You've got Alabama, Washington, and Arizona. All three of them are trying to keep their rosters together. Alabama's having a really difficult time right now. Remember, Alabama and Washington, they made the 14 playoff. The Wildcats, they won 10 games this year. Yet all three programs had to replace their head coaches. One of the offseason hot button topics for USC has been the quarterback room and Lincoln Riley's ability to attract top quarterbacks, get them to come to USC. I know, hard to believe, right? Well, here's why it's been a hot button topic. In 2023, Coach Riley brought in Malachi Nelson, 5-star plus, elite talent. He's already left the program after his true freshman season. And when that happened, we knew Caleb Williams was off to the NFL. That left Lincoln Riley with Miller Moss, highly talented quarterback, who had a great Holiday Bowl performance, and Jake Jensen as your only scholarship quarterbacks. So immediately, Will Howard, the starting quarterback from Kansas State, he was in the transfer portal. That was Lincoln Riley's first target. Miller Moss scared him away. Six touchdown performance in the Holiday Bowl against Louisville's defense. Will Howard said, you know what? I'm going to go try and be a starter somewhere else. I'm not going to go try and wrestle that away. He ended up picking the Buckeyes. Okay. So while Lincoln Riley has Lincoln Riley doesn't have a high school quarterback coming in with the 2024 class, he does have a true sophomore college-prepared player, Jayden Maiava. I don't know why I want to say Jordan every now and then. Jayden Maiava. He's got a year's worth of starting experience under his belt when he was at UNLV. Washington, the Huskies, they don't have a quarterback that USC is interested in. Michael Penix is off to the NFL. Arizona's quarterback tandem, Noah Fafita and T-Mac, they're staying in Tucson. However, the recruiting sites that rank players, they have Alabama's Julian Sayin as one of the top high school quarterback targets that was a member of the 2024 class. Well, he hit the transfer portal when Nick Saban hit his eject button. Yeah. And now Julian is taking his commitment, and he's switched to the Ohio State Buckeyes. His former offensive coordinator at Alabama just took a job at Ohio State, so it makes sense. Now, according to most insiders, it was coming down between USC and Ohio State. So if you're USC, which door do you prefer? I mean, would you have preferred Julian Sayin? Or do you want, Miller Moss, Jake Jensen, and Jayden Maiava running the quarterback room in 2024 with Julian Lewis, set to arrive in 2025? Again, here's your other choice behind door number 2. Do you prefer Miller Moss, Jake Jensen, and Julian Sayin in 2024? Because you can't have both him and Jayden Maiava. I mean, you could theoretically, but it was never going to happen that way. So you bring in Julian Sayin in 2024. There's a really good chance that Juju Lewis, he pulls his own ripcord and opens up his recruitment. It's like, you know what? There's some depth there now. And even if you are willing to take that risk, you're now going into the season with Miller Moss, Jake Jensen, and a true freshman quarterback. I'm talking about Julian Sayin. Sure, Lincoln Riley could be greedy and take all of them, but that's also not living in reality. That's not how college football works today. We are we have jumped that shark. You've got NIL, you've got the transfer portal. So the days of stacking quarterbacks, they're gone. That's not going to happen anymore. And again, thank you, NIL, and thank you, transfer portal. So back to the original question. In 2024, Miller Moss, Jake Jensen, and Jayden Maiava, experienced talent that Riley literally had to fight University of Georgia for, or Miller Moss, Jake Jensen, and a true freshman quarterback. And I still believe that USC needs to go get another quarterback before, and more than likely after, spring camp this year. But the chance of that spot being taken by an elite quarterback, we're talking about the high 4-star, high 5-star ranked quarterbacks. That type of talent is name, image, and likeness expensive. And as Malachi Nelson has already proved to USC, even if you pay the players, quarterbacks want to play. That's why he took his ball and he's heading off to Boise State. There's a really good chance he's walking into the starting quarterback position job there. So look, if you're a USC fan, if we're looking at it from a pragmatic point of view, USC is better off with Maiava and Lewis a year from now than Maiava and Julian Sayin. Moss and Jayden Maiava, they have the experience, as does Jake Jensen. Remember, he got in the game again in that Holiday Bowl, picked up a big fourth down conversion, mind you. And if Juju Lewis truly is Caleb Williams 2.0, talked about that on my last episode of Locked On USC, then let's just be honest. Everyone is just keeping his seat warm anyway. It doesn't matter if your name is Julian Sayin, Jayden Maiava. Juju is eventually going to be USC's starting quarterback. So you're Lincoln Riley for a day. Who are you picking? How are you building your quarterback room? Hit me up in the comments section on YouTube. That's what we're here for. It's audience participation. Make your opinion known. Back it up. Don't just say because I said so. Give a reason. Explain yourself. Have some fun with it. The NFL regular season is over. In fact, we are deep into the playoffs. And there is still time for you to get in on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers, you're going to get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. And the FanDuel app is really simple, really easy to use, and they got a variety of ways to bet, like same-game parlays. You can find bets in their new Explore tab. And if you want to make a parlay in their Parlay Hub, go check it out. They've got some really fun, popular ways to make some parlay bets. So visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn and make your first bet an easy score. FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts on Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. All right. Who is your favorite class of 2024 commit? Last week, I started to peel back the layers on one of USC's class of 2024 recruits, Carlon Jones. I got a lot of positive reviews on that segment. And I also want to kind of throw it out there that I'm glad I was able to become the muse for others as well. Yep, I see what's out there. People show me. So this week, Locked On USC's favorite recruit of the week to talk about is safety Marquis Gallegos. The safety prospect from Southern California. He started his high school career at Chaminade Prep, and then he finished off his high school career at Sierra Canyon his senior year. He's already enrolled at USC, 6'1". I believe he's 185 pounds, and let's not forget, he chose USC over Oklahoma, Oregon, Notre Dame, Michigan, Texas A&M, among others. There are other more highly ranked names that were available, but in my opinion, I think Marquis Gallegos, I think he might have the highest ceiling. Go check out his huddle tape. Watch the way he plays the game. Who does he remind you of? I'm trying to put my finger on it. I haven't really settled on anybody yet. So you guys tell me, who do you think he reminds you of? I got some ideas, but I'm not quite ready to go there yet. He's not as big as TJ McDonald, but he reminds me of TJ McDonald a little bit. A little bit of Antoine Perez. That's a player who I wish was able to stick it out at USC. I thought he had the right type of game. Now, anyways, let's get back to Marquis Gallegos. One of the first things that pops out when I watched his film is his physicality. TJ McDonald, Antoine Perez, both very physical players. And when you watch Gallegos play, he looks fundamentally sound, really good tackler. And he plays with top end effort, right? 100% from whistle to whistle, from snap to whistle, I guess is the right way to say it. And the other thing I noticed is he also reads the field, and he reads the quarterback eyes really well, very instinctual, almost like he's trying to bait the quarterback into making a throw. I think by the end of his junior season, he had something like 7 interceptions, so he's probably really good at baiting the quarterback. When you're looking for your safety, for a safety prospect, those are qualities that you're looking for. Somebody who's physical, instinctual, knows how to ball hawk. He's not afraid to stick his nose in there and make a tackle. I anticipate that Marquis is going to get his feet wet this spring camp, and then eventually he's going to find his way onto the field with special teams. I think that's his way of seeing the field this coming season. Look, if you're a safety and you like to hit, then go run the kickoff wind sprints, right? Go knock somebody down. Might not be the right, just go knock somebody down. Get the coach's attention. Show them you're willing to hit somebody. Gallegos is going to have the chance to fall on the shoes in other Hispanic heritage players who came before him at USC. Players like Mark Sanchez and Anthony Munoz. Munoz played for USC back in the 70s. Big, huge offensive lineman, NFL Hall of Famer. Mark Sanchez, more recently, he was a quarterback for USC on that team in 2008 that went 12-1. Why am I bringing up their Mexican heritage? Because it's important to Marquis Gallegos. It's one of the things when I started to peel back the layers a little bit on him, he's taking great pride in his Mexican heritage. And that's one of the things that Mark Sanchez took great pride in as well. Some of you might remember when Sanchez was the face of the program. One of the talking points was his mouth guard. It was designed with the three colors of the Mexican flag. Marquis Gallegos he's the same way. He always has the Mexican flag packed in his backpack, and that was really prominent. He showed that off when he was taking his visits, when he was trying to decide which college he was going to choose. It was kind of his calling card, so to speak. He wanted to show his pride, who he is, where he's from, what he's all about. But also because there aren't that many well-known Mexican football players, Marquis wants to kind of build off of that. I found a blog on the internet called Our Esquina, and it celebrates Latin American sports culture and the achievements. And they did an interview with Marquis after he committed to USC. Here's one of the quotes. Honestly, it meant a lot to me to take the flag. The 22nd rated, said Marquis Gallegos. It's something I always wanted to do, kind of putting on for the culture, not only being Mexican. Latinos don't get a lot of love in the sport of American football. If we're being honest, Latinos just don't get a lot of kind of recognition and kind of just a lot of love in it. That's the biggest reason. I just wanted to represent and show off we can do it as well, end quote. Now, he has an older brother, Isaac. He's a redshirt sophomore cornerback at New Mexico State. And he also has a couple of cousins who play Division I football, I believe at Colorado. One of the reasons Marquis said he chose USC over Oregon, Michigan, Notre Dame, and Oklahoma was because of the NIL opportunities that Los Angeles offers. Very smart. Let's be honest there. Really smart decision on his end. The Esquina blog points out that Los Angeles County, it has almost 5 million Latinos, and the vast majority of them are from Mexico. That community weighed really heavily among the factors of why Marquis chose USC. Like I said, the potential to capitalize on name, image, and likeness. Jaime Jaquez Jr., UCLA Bruin, did really well with it. I mean, he was a Pac-12 Player of the Year in basketball as a senior. So, and if you've ever watched any of their basketball games, the Latino community really showed up and rallied around him. When Mark Sanchez was playing quarterback at USC, same thing happened. I still remember the tricolors, the Mexican flags, they were everywhere at the Coliseum. There's a large segment of the USC fan base that's descendants of Mexican heritage. So you should probably anticipate seeing that happen again the more Marquis Gallegos starts to play for USC. And let's not forget, when Sanchez was doing that, this was well before name, image, and likeness was available. Way, way before that was out there. I have a feeling that if Gallegos lives up to his potential, he's going to have a lot of opportunities to represent his Mexican heritage. I mean, we can talk about jersey sales, hats. I'm sure there are some Mexican food joints out there are just waiting to give him a shot. Marquis said, just kind of having such a big Latino community in LA, me and my family, we took that into consideration for support in me as well. If I'm there, I have a big opportunity for NIL and a bigger support with so many Latinos. So there it is. Marquis recognizes what's out there by staying in Los Angeles. As far as football is concerned, the USC secondary it's deep in 2024. But as I mentioned, if he can make a name for himself on special teams, look, by the time spring camp 2025 rolls around, a year from now, he's going to be competing for regular rotation time. I have no doubt. When you hear him talk, when you watch him play, you can tell that Marquis Gallegos is the type of person you want in your locker room. He's a good culture guy. And I'm not just talking about, his Mexican heritage culture. I don't know why I want to keep saying American, but his Mexican heritage culture. He is just a football player. He's a type of guy that, teammates want to rally around. So again, he's already enrolled at USC. He's taking part in winter conditioning, and spring camp is a couple months away, assuming. So we'll pick up and see, keep an eye on Marquis, how he does throughout spring camp. I'm going to pick another favorite of the week to do on Wednesday on Locked On USC. So it's something to look forward to later this week. Again, we're going to make this a regular feature, going all the way up to spring camp. I want to get everybody familiar with a little bit more personal, more closely associated with each of these members that are coming in. So we'll see who we talk about on Wednesday. Hit me up in the comment section. Let me know if you have any suggestions. I know somebody said Brian Black before. I heard you. I saw you. He's coming up. Don't worry. But right now, I got Marquis Gallegos in the books. I got Carlon Jones in the books. Who's next? You tell me. All right. So we're going to talk men's basketball. They're in a world of hurt right now. Literally, figuratively, they are hurting. Boogie Ellis, he's got that hurt hamstring. He's missed the last 3 games. Isaiah Collier, broken hand. He's out for the next month at least. And that means you've got close to 35 points per game sitting on the bench when those two aren't playing. That's a lot of points. USC went on the road. They lost, their last home game, was it almost 2 weeks ago now, at home against Washington State. They lost that game. They have lost their next 3 since. They are now riding a 4-game losing streak. They lost at Colorado. They lost at Arizona. And on Saturday afternoon, early morning, or brunch, they lost to Arizona State. They lost to the Sun Devils 82-67. And I have to admit, that loss, I think that loss kind of spiked the nail into their postseason chances. I mean, it was already tenuous to begin with. But, yeah, when you're 8-11 overall, 2-6 in conference play, they have a really big hill to climb. And I just don't see them being able to get over the hump. Not the way they're playing. Not the effort they're providing. Here's what's coming up next. They host that other bad team in LA right now, UCLA. That's Saturday at Galen Center. Get out there. The team really, really needs your support. Show them you care. Look, I said they're taking on UCLA. UCLA is having a really crappy season too. However, they at least were able to find a way to beat Arizona State. The same Arizona State team that just beat USC. It's not a great Arizona State team. And despite USC having injuries, it was their lack of effort that really bugged the heck out of me in that game. So even when Boogie and Collier were healthy, USC was turning the ball over a lot. Okay, I'm not telling you anything you don't know. Boogie and Collier did not play against Arizona State. And they posted a new season high as a team with turnovers. 22. DJ Rodman, Kobe Johnson, they each had 5 turnovers. Bronny James had 3. Those are your primary ball handlers for the game. So that's 13 from your primary ball handlers. What was frustrating for me watching watching the way they attacked the game. Arizona State's full court press is that they kept doing the same thing each time when they took the ball out of bounds. And each time it felt like they turned the ball over. It's not how you attack a zone defense. It looked like they'd never seen one before. And that's what was troublesome for me. I know they've seen it because they practice it. They do it themselves. The Trojans were called for 3 10-second violations when they weren't able to get the ball across midcourt. 3 times in one game. You rarely see that 3 times in a season. I mean, 3. That's just, it's unacceptable. I don't care that Collier wasn't available. I don't care that Boogie Ellis wasn't able to play. Kobe Johnson knows better. Bronny James knows better. Anyways, this team right now, they look so afraid. They're afraid of making a mistake, and they made more because they're not playing with any confidence right now. And if you can see it, and I can see it, guess what? The team that's wearing another color uniform that's on the court, they see it too. It's easy to identify. I mean, lazy passes that were telegraphed. And let's just say, all right, they got the ball past half court. Now they're set up in their half court offense. Well, that's when they were turning the ball over there. Lazy passes, telegraphing them, holding the ball above their head and saying, I'm throwing it over there. It's just bad basketball. Look, I know others might disagree with me, but I really thought Saturday's effort was their worst of the season. I get the injuries. I really do. But it was the defensive effort and the lack of communication. No hands up. Not trying to disrupt the passing lanes. I mean, they were closing out slowly on the shooters. Anytime they had to recognize something, it was like a second late. Oh, I see it. There goes. Andy Enfield has already said he's never experienced anything like this season in his coaching career. Still, I'm not seeing any development. And I know he's frustrated. I know his coaching staff is frustrated. But look, I can't. Here's a quote from Andy Enfield, from Coach Andy Enfield. Our practices were pretty tough because we only had 7 guys that were healthy in November. I really give our team a ton of credit. They have a tremendous attitude. They practice hard every day. For the most part, we've played hard in our games. That first part, for the most part, we've played hard in our games. If you have to preface it for the most part, then you're not. And while the injuries have made things more difficult, there's no denying that. Coach Enfield also said, at this level, we don't make excuses. We have to go out and compete. Whoever's on our roster, whoever is healthy, has to go out and play as hard as they can. We're not looking for sympathy. And all that stuff about having guys out because no one really cares. That's what we tell them, end quote. So if that's what you're telling them at practice, apparently it's getting lost as the game goes on. Look, at this point of the year, a little past the halfway point, USC needs to get healthy somehow, and then somehow find a way to make a run into the Pac-12 tournament. They have to win the Pac-12 tournament because that's the only way they're making the postseason. Postseason anything. I mean, right now, even the NIT is out of the picture. I mentioned Saturday, they host UCLA, show up, show some pride. And look, let's try and make UCLA's season taste worse than USC's at this point. That's all we could. That's what we're playing for right now, right? Look, I know the critics are out, and it feels like Enfield is coaching for his job. Maybe he is, But again, for me, despite the injuries, it's the lack of development. It's the lack of effort. And I'm starting to wonder if there's too much name, image, likeness, name on this team and not enough game. It's an NBA team with money. I mean, it's a college team with NBA money. Kobe Johnson. Well, he's got an older brother who's playing in the NBA. You got Boogie Ellis, who returned this season, and he was incentivized with a nice name, image, likeness bag. Let's be honest. You've got Bronny James and his billions. And then you have Isaiah Collier, who got his one and done bag. Do they care about winning as much as they could? I'm not saying they don't care. But look, they're human. They're young. They got a pretty nice bank account. This team was built to make the NCAA tournament. And when you've got this much talent, again, you cannot lose at home to UC Irvine and Long Beach State. You just can't. I said it back then. Those were unacceptable losses. And I don't care who is available and who isn't. You can't lose those types of games at home. It was a telltale sign for me. There was something wrong with this program this year. And all you got to do is look at their effort on defense. USC is at the bottom of the conference. They're usually leading the conference. When you're not playing defense, you're not giving an effort. That's all it's about. For me right now, I've said it before. I have to say it again. It's like this basketball team this year, it's kind of reminding me of USC football beating Penn State on the road and then coming home and losing to Memphis at the Coliseum. It just doesn't make any sense. And this year's basketball team, it doesn't make any sense. Again, I'm taking into consideration the injuries and how they've had to prepare for practice. Still, you tell me, if you've been watching this basketball team, do they look prepared? For me, I have to say no. And I don't know why. I just know I don't like watching it. So I'll be back with another episode of Locked On USC tomorrow. Come up with some more topics to talk about with you, even though we're in the off season. Again, men's basketball, they host UCLA on Saturday. Get out to Galen Center. We'll be talking football and recruiting this week. So until then, everyone, you know what to do.